dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How are you this morning? Tudo bem? Como estás? Okay, tem feito. Hey, how about that? Let's see who's in the house this morning. Batty's here. My goodness, I hope you're well, Batty. Let us know that you're clearly safe and well, messaging us. What's going on over there in Iceland? Hola, bom dia, alegria. You say, hoping to make my way to Portugal soon. I bet. Not unlike Anna in Sweden, not a million miles away from you, closer to you. Maybe I'm going to say she's closer to you than she is to us, but that may not be true. Scandinavia, vast. Bon dia todos, minus 13 in Stockholm then this morning for Anna. Looking forward to a return to Villarreal de Santo on the 27th. Not long now. 11 days and counting. Are you fed up with the cold weather there now? Anna, thank you for being here this morning. Coach Turner in with the God Squad tip of the day. We shall return to that in just a moment. And James with a mindful moment and a mindful dad joke. Lovely job. Thank you very much. A quick look at the news before we go to those, courtesy of our homepage at Love Portugal. Now, I'm part of this is I'm very pleased to announce that I have found out what the problem was with my new website, Love San Martino de Porto. You cannot know how delighted I was yesterday to have a Columbo-esque moment with sort of my face all squinted up thinking, hold on a minute, just one more thing. Checked a setting in Google Sites and away we went. Oh my goodness, it was nightmarish. I was knee deep in DNS settings, which is very dangerous. People like me should not be going into such places and causing chaos and messing with things. It's the equivalent of not knowing whether to snip the green wire or the red wire. It was really very frustrating over the last few days. All the content was there. I just couldn't connect the Love SMDP, which is what the domain is. I couldn't connect that I couldn't connect the domain to the Google site that I'd made, but all sorted out now. So we have Love Portugal, which is the site we're looking at now, and news on it. Look at that. Pair of us on the screen there. Yes, news on our news section, Newsweek, 15th of January, dateline, 15th of January, 2024. Among the insights into the preferences of potential property buyers in the Algarve region, 92% of respondents there strongly agreed or agreed that outdoor spaces, including gardens, this is like one of those research projects we were talking about yesterday, right? Is this going to be a no? Hold on a minute. I need to just change my jingle pad here. Is this going to be a no fit Sherlock survey? Some key findings highlight that. I always need to change the jingle pad back, don't I? Because when I go to press the applause, for example, and that comes out, or this, you don't want an inadvertent horn in the wrong place. Some people do like that first thing in the morning, though. Some key findings, then, moving on, highlight that over 92% of respondents strongly agreed that outdoor spaces, including gardens, in my head, I can hear the operatives doing this. Do you strongly agree, or do you just agree that outdoor spaces, including gardens, swimming pools, and terraces, are paramount when purchasing a property? 92% did strongly agree, and more than 67% strongly preferred detached homes, emphasizing the desire to escape the disturbance of neighbors. Some call that the naked factor, don't they? Can I walk around naked without being overlooked? And again, some people, you can never tell, can you? Because some people probably like to be overlooked and buy a property with that in mind, perhaps. I don't know. Not me. I'm not talking about myself there. Honestly, Algarve drought then, turning to somewhat more serious news. And I do like the cut of George Branco's jib. He is, of course, the man behind Portuguese News in English. And he's just published this morning his news, which includes Algarve drought so bad, farmers fear the end down there in the Algarve. And I alluded to it among the banter yesterday with Paul Richards. And by the way, Paul, if you've tuned in already, I have worn a collar and a V-neck sweater today, so as not to look like somebody in a dole queue, as you put it yesterday. And we didn't get to explain that to you, James. A dole queue is the queue for people who are collecting or signing up for, or signing on for, we used to be called signing on as well in the UK, people who are getting unemployment benefit. So those who are out of work, possibly homeless in the queue there. That's what he said. We look like unemployed, possibly homeless people, in his slur upon us and his defense of Mrs. M yesterday. So point taken, Paul. I have raised the sartorial bar half a notch at least this morning. Anyway, it is looking pretty bad as far as the drought goes in the Algarve. If only they could have some of our rain from up here. I have many receptacles in the garden that I can see are just overflowing with rainwater. And thankfully, it was so damp in the house yesterday, and there's that sheen of moisture on the inner walls and woodwork. It was so wet yesterday. This morning, it's still very mild, 15 outside, and very comfortable in the studio this morning. But it looks like it could rain again, although there is a let-up at the moment. Algarve, though, drought so bad, farmers fear the end. Dams at just 25%. George is taking coverage from Diario de Noticias. And farmers and golf course owners say they're already parched and can't take any more reductions. So challenging times for them down there. Also in George's news missive, one man's complaints spark national police protests. So there's something of a winter of discontent here in Portugal with teaching staff. We've got medical health staff personnel and the police complaining and protesting for more money and taking action, presumably better conditions as well as money. Generally, these things go together, don't they? But so you can find that in George Branco's Substack. And I've been hearing more and more about Substack. I think it's a very good way of delivering content, niche content. We are in a niche content world, let's face it, aren't we? And Substack, a great way to get the information you want to get and directly reward the person creating it. And you can do that by buying George a Tostamista is the token that he uses over there. And I will put the link to his, let me put the link to his Substack in the chat for you. And I'll do that after I've told you what else is in his news briefing. Homeless foreigners left looking for a roof as temperatures fall. Lisbon plaques remember Portugal's silenced role in slavery. Director General of Health says excess mortality to remain in those over 45. Those figures to me, and I've always not banged on about it exactly, but always seemed to be something of a lone voice in my concerns about excess deaths, excess mortality. There was a piece in the Portugal News in the last few days with some rather scathing comments, but that's normal in the Portugal News, of course. But what's going on there? Portugal has the most emigration in Europe and 8th highest in the world. Another one of George's news picks. And journalists call for unpaid wages and greater scrutiny. Oh, yes, there were some journalists on strike just in the last week as well, weren't there? Those over at Global Media, and not too happy to be globalized in their jobs by the sound of it. Global Media, as the name suggests. I think I listen to radio stations that are connected with Global Media, isn't that? To LBC and that sort of thing over there in the UK. And on a lighter note, it was a long time in the making, 2 years to be precise, but Afghan refugee Milad has finally played his first game of football in Portugal. A story of a 13-year-old lad then who's been training rigorously and gets his first game over here in Portugal. So let me pop the link to Jorge Branco. If you like your news, pretty straightforward news, not too... He scours the Portuguese news sources and creates his own potted news there. Succinct, to the point, and rather good, I would say. So actually, the link is there over on our homepage. There's me trying to get it twice, but actually, I can get it, can't I? Copy link address. I'm doing that. No, that's the wrong one. Hold on a minute. I'm going, yes, No, that was right. That was right. Also on that page, the new Love San Martino de Porto website resource from the makers of Love Portugal that we're looking at now. I have created a Love San Martino de Porto website. lovesmdp.com is the link for that. And the first news of this week coming in from Antonio Barbosa. So repairs in private homes will get 5% EVA on them. The EVA rate of 5% may be applied to housing repair and renovation works as long as the homes are actually used as housing. That's a relief, though, isn't it? Yes. According to the court, only consumers who actually reside in the property subject to the works and who do not have the right to deduct input EVA can benefit from the reduced EVA. So it's a reduced EVA rate for repairs on private homes there, as reported by our man Antonio, our man in the north, the man in the Minho, Tony Time, everyone, hashtag Tony Time, Antonio Barbosa, and more about that over at GMP VIP. Okay, the link for Jorge Branco's Substack going into the chat, and João de Norte is here. So we turned our back, and there he is. He turned around. John, what are you doing there? I'm here. Bon dia, one and all, from João de Norte. Still glowing, I think, after that Fado performance up there in Braga over the weekend. And thank you for the lovely footage of that. Yesterday, we got a 2-minute taster to play you. Talking of playing video, and João de Norte and Doug sent their pics and vids to me on 913-590-303. Who can remember that number off by heart? Is that the Portuguese? I was nearly going to play you the wrong video. I wonder if I should play that. I don't know. Some of the videos he sends me are a little bit, not appropriate for the time of day, perhaps, but they're always very funny. Always very funny, I have to say. Now, I've got a few 2-minute tasters here, and I'm not sure which is which. So I'm going to just try doing this again with grateful thanks to Dougie. Just let me download that one more time so that I'm actually playing you the right one this morning. 1 minute, 50 seconds of Doug in the Algarve. He's so he's so conscientious and prolific, is our man Doug. So let me just get the right one for you here. And see if I can find it first. Oh, there we go. We've got it now. This is Doug's latest 2-minute taster from the Algarve. A lot of talk about the Algarve this morning, the drought and the buying preferences. And now Douglas Hughes, who's down there enjoying himself in the Algarve. A far cry from the dramas of last year, eh, Doug? So glad to have you back in the country. And we'll play your 2-minute taster now.
Good morning, Portugal, and it's a jolly fine morning right here in the Algarve. Time for one of our 2-minute tasters.
I think it's fair to say that when I actually came here in November
Wow, that's a sign of the Algarve you don't see too often. Very moody and very Ennio Morricone-esque there. Interesting music, a great selection of photographs there. And yeah, Albufeira at its possibly its quietest. Bit chilly, isn't it? People just, I same here at San Martino de Porto. We don't go quite as quiet as that. Doesn't I mean, that place definitely looked like it needed people. And the wonderful thing about San Martino de Porto, from my point of view, is it never goes dead. It goes quiet, and that's really nice, but it doesn't look like it's in desperate need of people at any time or deserted. And that's looking a bit like that in Albufeira. I thought there was quite a large standing population there, but they're perhaps out of the party area there in that particular part of town. On any moment, I thought we were going to see Clint Eastwood maybe in a poncho chewing on a cheroot standing in the corner there, and there's going to be a gunfight any minute, Western style. Thank you very much for that, Doug. A different view of the Algarve and specifically Albufeira there on that 2-minute taster. Keep them coming on 913-590-303. Okay, wait, what? And now I'm offended. The dole cue, honestly. Actually, I consider it a compliment. Nice and relaxed, sartorially relaxed. With an obrigadinho to you, Paul Richards. Let's go and see what James was saying earlier on this morning before we have a look at GMP VIP and some of those Portuguese sayings to add to the mindful dad joke and mindful moment. Bom dia, Campos, then. Feliz terça a todos. Como tem passado? From James at 7:48 this morning. And this is, I believe this is a mindful moment. The surface of the earth is the shore of the cosmic ocean. I can't say it like the other Carl Sagan says it. I love how he speaks and when he's enthusing about such things. The surface of the earth is the shore of the cosmic ocean. Recently, we've waded a little way out and the water seems inviting. Wow, Carl Sagan there. And your mindful dad joke this morning, meditation, because some answers can only be found on the internet. I have never heard of that. I wish I'd thought of that. The internet. It's like the light web, isn't it? The internet. Shira Tamir, whoever that is. Well done to you, Shira Tamir, because some answers can only be found on the internet. Googling within. That's amazing, isn't it? Not to be confused with playing with your Googlies. Bond here then from Coach Turner as well. James, Carl, todos como estás? Today I be mostly training and coaching, but first for a chilly walk and a coffee. It's icy out there. God Squad tip of the day then from the coach who'll be with us on Friday to dust down the original God Squad tip of the day program, the God Squad program. We'll have a look at that. We'll revisit that on Friday with the coach, who I hope will be with us on Friday. We discussed yesterday, he says, how helping a friend start exercising. Yes, a fitness buddy might also encourage you. Of course, that friend could be of the four-legged variety. A bear, for example. No, a dog probably. Round here, there are loads of dogs. Don't just help yourself, though. People are always out walking them. Certainly a lot of dogs need, every time we see Ali from, Snapshot magazine. I wanted to call it Bulletin from her. I don't know why that is. Every time we see Ali from Snapshot, there's a profile of a dog that needs adopting there. So, yeah, if you come into Portugal and you fancy staying fit, I owe a lot to my two dogs and how they get me out twice a day. So it's a good option, as Coach Turner's pointing out here. Always people walking dogs in his part of the UK, some just gently round the block, while others are out for hours twice a day. I'm sure Carl would concur that it's a great way to start. It is absolutely right. Spot on there. And as I say, a lot of dogs need adopting over here in Portugal. So it is a very good idea. Well done, Coach T, on that. From mindful moments and mindful dad jokes, let's have a look at some of those Portuguese sayings that were started by T-Duck. There's a T-Duck vacuum today. And see the baton that's been picked up by Antonio Ferreira. And they are amazing. Nearly 300 comments in here. They're not all 300 comments are Portuguese sayings. Some of them are the reactions, as you can see there, to the sayings. That was one recently. That is called the Verdade GIF right there, and that was for Deus deu-nos a família, os amigos escolhemos nós. God gave us our family and we chose our friends. Verdade to that. So a few more of these, because they're very, very good. This latest smattering of Portuguese sayings. Deus escreve direito por linhas tortas. God writes straight in crooked lines. That I really liked as well. And more generally then, or can you get more general than God? Possibly not. Devagar se vai along, slowly we go far, which is a little bit like that. If you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. And then devagar, que tenho pressa, slow down, I'm in a hurry. Do it calmly in order to have it done properly. What is that? Less haste, less speed, more haste. Oh, I never know which way around that is. Haste is worse than speed, is it not? So I think it's less haste, more speed. Do it calmly in order to have it done properly, which is faster than having to redo it again. Very good. Devagar. And that's the word we need, isn't it, when we're asking people to slow down? Devagar, faz favor. Slowly, if you will, speaking fellow Portuguese. Que tenho pressa. And this final one for this morning of the Portuguese sayings of the day. Dezembro molhado and Janeiro geado. I love it when they have a nice rhyming couplet feel to them. Molhado, I thought that was saucy. Could be, couldn't it? But a wet December means a frosty January. Dezembro molhado. Janeiro geado. So I think we should cut and paste that for the arrival of Lee to see if he finds that true as somebody who works in the garden. Paul's here now. I'm not sure if you heard my comments about being on the dole, homeless, and how we were dressed yesterday, Paul. But I've tried to do something about it. Put a shirt collar and a V-neck sweater on. I look like a Portuguese teacher, I think, this morning. Greetings from a warm Algarve. Looking smart this morning, Carl. Thank you, Paul. Albufeira is for tourists and work-related Portuguese, but there are still some excellent restaurants open. Thank you for that. As a response to Dougie's video there this morning. So we're expecting Lee. I think what I'll do is send him the link via WhatsApp. What Lee McGrady does, as you may recall, is stop for a coffee and a smoke and have a chat with us while he's doing that. Tell us what's going on in the garden and giving us a little bit of a report from a neighborhood in Lisbon, which I always enjoy. Matty will be popping in as well. We're going to find out. Do you remember when we spoke to him, he was waiting for his internet to be put in, wasn't he? His connection. And that's done now. So he is working and connected at the Quinta under Águas, the Quinta between the waters, between the rivers there. And of course, we'll be talking to Jason at Quinta Essencial as well. The man who supplied the purveyor of sprouts and parsnips, the parsnip purveyor and sprout supplier. And he was helping people at Christmas with all the trimmings. Let's see what he's been up to. And it's always good to check in with Jason because he started a business here and he has successfully gone through ups and downs of that business. And he's doing a great job in central Portugal in bringing some life back to a particular piece of land, making it productive and creating a business out of it as well, which I think is very admirable. This is the one, there, Dezembro molhado a Janeiro geado. That's Antonio F. Thank you for all those Portuguese sayings and your new Portuguese crime report over there at GMP VIP. Thanks for that, Antonio. Bob's in as well this morning. Did you get the GIF? I turned that part of that lovely video from Viv into, there's a Viv GIF that I think should go globally viral. It's superb, Bob. I send that to you on Messenger. Excuse me a moment. Oh my goodness, I need a coffee, a milky coffee. But after what I said to Mrs. M, I don't know if that's going to happen this morning. Bon dia todos from both Bob and Antonio F. Cheryl Bliss, I think I might have sent you yesterday to a website that isn't working. Did you like the tune from Cheryl Bliss, January Moon? I do. I like it a lot. And I'm going to give you instead this morning the link to her track that you can download for yourself at Bandcamp. How do artists make a living? I mean, she's asking for €1, $1, I think, to download that tune. I was delighted to give her a bit more than that and buy the tune, as well as some of her other music. She's very gifted. I think a few of you were surprised, not by her talent, but surprised to find out about her and that she actually lives in Porto, along with husband Michael, of course, who you may have heard before. I played one of his tunes on the show. And at GMP VIP, actually, we've got all our featured music in one place. So cherylbliss.bandcamp.com, and a review coming straight in from James. Loved it. Sheer Bliss. Isn't it great to be called Michael Bliss and Cheryl Bliss? They're the Blisses. And they have created so much great music between them, and they are part of the wonderful Porto of January Moon. I'll show you actually some of the rest of her music, but there's a video to come of January Moon, and but there's so much more music we could play from Cheryl, which I'd love to do, and she's very kindly let us play January Moon at least. So yeah, this is her Bandcamp page. Look, all the music she's made. I mean, these two, Michael and Cheryl, have worked with some amazing people over in the United States. Look at this. So we've got Cheryl's voice is like that of Julie Cruz, possibly the most beautiful ethereal voice ever, from Daniel Lanois, who's worked with U2 and Peter Gabriel. And that's her latest tune, January Moon, on there, which is, as I say, you can download for a mere $1 if you fancy doing that. The lyrics are there. And you can be in touch with the artist there via Bandcamp on the community page as well. So a delight to play that yesterday. Thank you, Cheryl. Looking forward to playing your video as well. Other news this morning as we await the arrival of Lee, and we'll also be talking to Matty and Jason and Siobhan from Quinta this morning in Salida de Porto, our merch, and I nearly called her our perch. I'm collapsing print on demand and merch there. So our official perch people, Sayo Print, she will be with us also in the next hour. Loved it, Sheer Bliss, and the review from James. And Smoky Treats is back. Bon dia to you, David. Good to talk to you after the show yesterday. Bob, hilarious. Yes, I need to learn that technique. We're putting it on our page and then onto YouTube. Oh, I'm so glad you approved of that, and that Viv did as well. What a wink. You're a lucky man to get to see that in real life whenever you want to. That rather lovely wink from Viv there. Kate Bush had a wonderfully ethereal voice, says vase. I'm guessing you do say vase rather than vase. Vase of flowers. Who is that? But vase of flowers, very welcome to you this morning. Benvindo to the show, to the Good Morning Portugal show. And Baddy, terrifying and beautiful images of Iceland yesterday, the lava destruction. Yeah, what's going on there, Baddy? And a bon dia to you, David, from Antonia F this morning. Okay, in other news, I'm afraid I'm afraid for those of you who can't come and join us tomorrow, that it's a completely sold out event. The Portugal Club event that is the visit to the Flavors of India tomorrow. And it's an Englishman, an Irishman, and Mama Anila walk into her own restaurant tomorrow with a starter, choice of 4 main courses, dessert, a drink included in that, and unlimited buffet. Basically, everything she makes herself there. I've been there once before, along with Rugby Colin, and it was superb. We'll be seeing him tomorrow, and a load of other gumpers who are showing up for the filming tomorrow. Completely sold out. So what does that mean? It means we're going to have to do another one later this year. So those of you who want to go to the regular meetup, go see, if you're not coming along to the Flavors of India event, the Portugal Club event tomorrow, feel free to pop along to Palmeira, the usual venue where Nelson will look after you. But a lot of us are going to be over in Caldash at Flavors of India, which if you're not coming to join us, do put your name down for the waiting list for next time, or pop along to Palmeira tomorrow. And the week after, we will be, it's all great fun, isn't it, with this community. Tomorrow, Flavors of India. Next week, Storytellers Palace and a 3-course lunch with Marco. We are so lucky, so fortunate, aren't we, in this area, and to be able to be doing things like this. And a few people have already put their name down for this, including Carl Hyde's going to be there. If you want to meet the man from the agency, he'll be there at a slightly more business-like working lunch here and gathering in the Gatsby bar from midday, where I think the Pollies are having a rather nice time at the moment and enjoyed that. So tomorrow, Flavors of India fully booked, but you can put your name down if you want to do an RSVP on this one in a week's time on the 24th. 3-course lunch, including a soft drink. That is at the Storytellers Palace, which is a superb venue. and the Gatsby bar. Anyone who sets foot in the Gatsby bar just sits there and with a knowing and pleased look on their face as they sip on a cocktail, like, yes, why didn't I know about this place before? It's amazing. The Gatsby bar in the basement of the Storytellers Palace, where we'll gather next Wednesday, the 24th, from around noon, and we'll have a lovely lunch at about 1 o'clock. And yeah, some of the people, let's go back to the Portugal Professional Network. A few of the faces from there, and we need a few more faces actually on there. If you run a business, if you've got a skill that you would like to share on the Good Morning Portugal Information Professional Network database, then send it to me on the number that you send your pictures and videos to, 913-590-303. I think it's important that we commend, look after each other, and actually even know about each other in the first place if there are professional services that you offer. Somebody in that line of work or sector or industry or doing that as a way of making a living is Cordelia Blake, who I'm looking forward to meeting this evening. The Portugal Club meeting this evening. We'll be talking more about the Expat Angels project. Cordelia joining us and Stephen White. So if you're a Portugal Club member and you come for the check-in at 8, we'll see you at 8, and we'll have our special guests, Stephen and Cordelia. Cordelia interviews a lot of entrepreneurs working in Portugal, and she has a YouTube channel, and we'll be talking to her about that at around 8:30. And Stephen White on what it's like to be a young entrepreneur in Portugal as part of the work we're doing to support young entrepreneurs in this country. That's at 8:30, and the Portugal Club check-in at 8 o'clock. A little reminder for you, those of you who are members of the Portugal Club. And Paul Rees. Paul Rees, Paul Rees joined us with a stunning debut last week, and he will be with us in that regular slot. I've managed to book him every month on that second Wednesday. So he's a second Wednesday fixture. Paul Rees getting a lot of great feedback on YouTube. And I was so surprised, still am, that I haven't met him before. A lot of other people seem to know about Paul, not me until about 2 weeks ago. And I'm delighted to say he's going to be a regular second Wednesdays of every month. Paul Rees joining us and talking about renovation. And to me, even more importantly or interestingly, about his life here in Portugal and his parents' life here in Portugal. They chose Portugal long ago, and he's got some great insight about Portuguese culture as somebody who's lived here, second generation, for a very long time. So looking forward to more of Paul Rees, second Wednesdays of every month. That twinning thing yesterday, we've got more information about the twinning with Wellington. And that's a Somerset town in the UK. Apparently, the Duke of Wellington, this is the backstory. Thank you very much, Paul, for getting in touch about this. The mystery then, why would Wellington, a little town in Somerset, be twinned with Torres Vedras? Turns out, British commander with ties to Somerset, the Duke of Wellington, Arthur Wellesley, famously, or notably to me anyway, his address was number 1 London. If you go to, I think it's Hyde Park Corner. Yeah, Hyde Park Corner. There's a rather splendid old building there, which has the address number 1 London. And that was his home. And apparently the Duke of Wellington, Arthur Wellesley, helped the Portuguese to defend Lisbon from the French. A French invasion, not in recent years. French people move happily and freely to, in and out of central Portugal every summer now without the need for the help of the Duke of Wellington. But he helped them back in the day, the Portuguese that is, to defend Lisbon from a French invasion with the main battles around the Torres Vedras area, which you'd never know as you sat there eating bifana in the shopping centre, which I can thoroughly commend to you. We were sat there, a beautiful rainbow appeared, and you would get no idea that the English and French and Portuguese are all slaughtering each other there several centuries ago. But that's the connection then between Wellington in Somerset and Torres Vedras here in Portugal. Let's go to a couple of comments, and then we're going to go over and see Matty. Yes, it's been a hair-raising few days over there in Iceland then for Baddy, with a new eruption in Grindavik. I think I've pronounced that correctly. I posted videos of rescue missions to save the heavy machinery from the lava on Facebook yesterday. Wow. And Squire of the Shire's in. Bon dia, David and Antonio from the Squire. Morning to you, Squire. How are you doing? Let's give him a nice big round of applause. And we'll go over to Quinta Essencial with Matty. Good morning to you, Matty. How are you?
Bom dia. Tudo bem?
Bom dia. Muito bem, obrigado. Contigo.
Sim, sim.
Now then, internet fiber. You have been in recent times. Oh, let's do a quick recap. You are the man who has bought a renovation project in central Portugal between two rivers, and we are very. Oh, there it is. Right.
You can see it in the
Yes.
background.
There it is. So you're the man behind this project. Your life's it will be a labour of love and your life's work, given the scale of it, as we've discovered in these last few months. And a milestone was reached, I think, in this last month. You now are connected to civilization via the internet. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my only grid tight connection is the internet, the fiber cable from Mayo, which is working fine. I also, let me show you, put out the outdoor Wi-Fi access point.
Did you really?
Yeah. Here it is.
There it is. That's a nice touch, isn't it? That's the ancient and the modern meeting right there on the wall.
Yeah. The reason I needed to do this is twofold. One, the Tesla has the software updates only via Wi-Fi, and my my charging station only connects to the system with Wi-Fi. I cannot plug a network cable in it because there is no slot for it. So I had to put
Tesla. It's Wi-Fi only, a Tesla connection. Is that
the Tesla upgrades. The upgrades for the Tesla is only via Wi-Fi, and my charging station, this thing,
wow, look at that.
only talks with the solar system via Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So I had two reasons to put it right here, and I chose an external access point because it's close enough that I also have Wi-Fi in my mobile home.
It looks like it's all coming together very nicely, Matty. How do you feel about all of this and this latest development?
Yeah, it's feeling good. There has been another development last week. Let me show you. And that is another milestone that's starting to come together. I have started to move my shit.
Beg your pardon? As in your belongings? Not
human
manure.
I started to move out of my rental place in Pombal.
Yeah.
So this trailer has been full with my stuff, and I probably have to go again, either with that trailer once more, or maybe I do a couple little trips with my bus or van, and do quick trips, because the trip from Pombal to my farm with a Tesla pulling that trailer took me 8 hours.
No, why?
I had to take a longer route. Instead of using the IC8, I had to go via Fatima, where the Tesla supercharger is, and then use the 823, where I had 2 more charging stops. So it was a long day then.
Matty, it's not exactly the Jetsons, is it? I mean, the age of the electric car would suggest that you're not even touching the ground and you're there in minutes rather than hours. That seems so not counterintuitive exactly, but not exactly the vision of the future that some people had in mind.
Well, the thing is, we made a slight mistake loading my trailer, so it was not really balanced. It had more weight on the front, so I could only drive. I only dared to drive 70 kilometers per hour, because anything faster, and I felt the front of the Tesla came loose.
Oh my goodness! Right, okay. So if you were on the road recently and you were held up behind some crazy guy in an electric vehicle pulling a trailer, that was Matty, everybody. If that inconvenienced you in the last few weeks, 8 hours. Oh my goodness!
But that's also a reason why I took the highway, because it's 2 lines and everybody can overtake easily, even the lorries or trucks.
Very thoughtful, very thoughtful. What a vision that must have been, Matty. The day that you were doing that must have felt like days, if not days. Quite incredible.
Yeah.
So I sense then that you are cutting the umbilical cord between yourself and the civilization you have known. The Pombal mothership, which was, of course, your base camp when you arrived in Portugal. That's going to be in the rearview mirror for the last time soon.
I expect that next month will be the last month I pay rent.
My goodness. Okay, so then it gets real over there in Entre
Nowhere else to go.
No, fantastic. And a couple of things I want to pick up on. You said your only grid connection is the internet. Everything else, you're going to have your own water and your own electricity. That's all coming together nicely, is it?
Yeah, I mean, you can see the solar array.
Oh yeah, nice. Okay.
And I don't know if I can walk to my tech room, but then I switch Wi-Fi. I probably lose connection, so I'll try. I can show you the
well, we're
the
loving
room.
this. This, folks, is the reality of creating a renovation project or refurbing a renovation project in the middle out there in central Portugal. Matty's actually doing it. The trials and tribulations. He's got his solar array, as you've seen there. He's got his Wi-Fi in now. He's got his borehole, got water. I guess the big work to do now, then, Matty, is the building work, right? What's next when it comes to the building work? Were you going to do the roof next?
What?
Where are we going in? We're going into the tech room, I think. Ah, Mr. Bond, I thought I'd find you here. And like he said, oh no, he said he might lose. Oh no, he switched over Wi-Fi then. Oh, that's all looking very posh inside there. Is this all newly done, Matty?
Yeah. I had a little incident the other day with water that was coming on the walls in a couple of spots. I called my roofer and I sent him a message via WhatsApp on Sunday, and he came on Monday to put some sealant in, because what probably happened, and I need to watch it the next couple of days when we have more rain, is that the water went through the grooves, or the how you call the thing between the stones.
The mortar.
Yeah, but in the ruin, it's more dirt than mortar, so the water probably went through the dirt there and under the waterproofing of the roof and came in that way.
Oh no! Okay.
So we have to see if that fixed it, and if not, he needs to come back.
Right. Of all the places, you don't want water ingress in your tech room, do you? Basically.
No. But I can have quite some water, because you see, it's not on the floor level. It's
very wisely chosen. Now, suddenly, we've gone from rustic splendor into a James Bond scenario. What on earth is going on over there? I was talking about cutting the green wire and the red wire. This looks like a baddie's headquarters for world domination, Matty. What happens in here?
Well, this is the hardware or the equipment of the solar system that takes the power that's generated from the PV panels and invert it to 220 and send it over to the mobile home. And I have set up a couple of power outlets, which I'm still in the process of. What happened here? Phone.
No, you've frozen up, but we can still hear you. Okay.
Yeah, my phone decided to go black.
Oh, okay. Well, we can see you. We can see you fine.
Okay. So I'm still in the process of connecting all the power outlets I've put in, and if all goes well, end of the morning, my generator will be delivered from my solar company, because the big, huge transporting company Touristy wasn't able to deliver it.
Oh.
Which is kind of funny, because all they do is deliver stuff from A to B.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Pete's bang on here. We've got to, just going back a little bit to Iceland. The Danes settled in Iceland, didn't they? For a number of years, I thought my surname was Danish. So I'm guessing Vase of Flowers isn't your name that you use in daily conversation. But since getting online, I've learned it's Swedish. And I think it was the Danes, he says, that settled in Iceland. Don't show the trailer of death, which also sounds like a Bond movie, doesn't it? I can see, I don't know, Sheryl Crow singing the theme tune to a trailer of death, or Sam Smith or somebody like that. You have the solar, Matty, says Pete. Thanks to Jamie, Leo, and Matty, you have the temporary accommodation, the fibre, and now enjoy and learn the land. So we'll talk about that in a moment, because that does seem to be the next step, Matty. Bon dia from Sarah. I want to go visit Matty's place. We're lucky, says Pete. Usually, when it all goes black, and then you see Matty's face, it's in your very last moments. Naughty. That's just the darkness of. I think these are your friends, so-called, giving you a little bit of banter this morning. That's just the darkness of pain therapy there. And vase of flowers, the settlers of Iceland were a mixture of Norwegians and the slaves they stole on the way from Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, I think. Wow, can you imagine? The Danes ruled here later until the 1940s. Well, it sounds like a significant moment in Icelandic history. Okay, so the thing was, what were we talking about? I wanted to draw you back to. I think we talked about the solar a little bit, haven't we? And you said, I'm moving my SH1T here. Now, I thought for a moment that meant you were doing human manure, which, I mean, for many people, for many homesteaders, recycling their own human waste is the gold standard of self-sufficiency. Will that be happening as well at your place?
Of course, I have removed the flushing toilet from the mobile home and replaced it with a composting toilet.
Look at you. Okay, so good to go. Off that grid as well. They're not wasting loads of lovely clean water, flushing away waste products. That's a very silly thing we do in our culture, isn't it? We've got used to it, however. Fabulous work, Matty, says the Squire. So is Pete right then? I mean, you've done it in the right order, haven't you? You've made sure you're connected in the way that you want to be connected with the internet. You've got some roofing. You're protecting your tech room. Well, just about anyway. You can charge up your vehicle. You've got your solar. You've got your borehole. Is it onward now with the work on the buildings?
Well, the borehole I don't have yet. I have ordered it and I have paid the administration fees and taxes. But since then, I haven't heard from the company, and I'm trying to get information about what's the planning. When will they come over to actually drill it? Because, I mean, if I move out of Pombal, I need my washing machine to have water.
Yes, they rely on it, don't they? I believe even these modern ones need water.
It's difficult to wash your clothes without water in these things.
Yes, I'm sure Elon's working on a solution to that. You just put them in the boot of the Tesla, and they're clean by the time you get to where you're going.
Not in my boot.
With the dogs as well in there, and also you have to be very suspicious, don't you? With a company who says they're going to deliver your borehole or send it in a box. I mean, what they're going to come and do is drill, isn't it? Isn't that how it works?
Yes, that's what they need to do. And I heard from different sources that it might be strategic to not have them drill it now in January or February, because all the water levels are high. And what you ideally want is to drill when the water levels are low, so that when they drill it, you have water.
Yes.
Also, when the water level is low, and not only in the winter.
That makes sense, doesn't it? So you're possibly near to your driest time. You get that borehole down there to the lowest possible point.
I've asked them, no answer. So I don't know what's going on.
Interesting.
I will try to call them.
Yeah, they'll get back to you. They'll get back to you eventually, I'm sure. Antonio Barbosa is in. Bom dia, alegria. Feliz terça-feira. We were talking about you earlier on. Thank you for that mention of the reduced EVA on property maintenance. Baddy, we always think of you whenever we hear about Iceland. Fascinating to have your on-the-spot reports. It is, isn't it? That's why you say that, Pete. We can watch all of Matty's progress on Quinta Essencial on YouTube. So everything is being documented over there, right, Matty? Yeah. All right. And so what's next? The next big step for you? Where's all your energy going to be going in these next few weeks and months?
Well, I've been busy trying to get the tech room done so that I can actually store my stuff from the trailer and Pombal in the room.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the carpenter to make a little wooden thing, because I don't know if you can see.
Who doesn't like a little wooden thing made by a carpenter?
Where the two roof halves meet.
Yeah.
There's a gap. I don't know if you can see it on the camera.
Oh, so you need a little bit of a trim, do you? To like
Yeah, it's like a trim, and he needs a special tool to actually cut it nicely.
Yeah.
So it might be another week or two.
Decorative finish, perhaps.
Yeah, like I said, later today I should get my generator delivered from SparkPoint Solar.
Yeah.
And connected. Once that's done, I need to put the cables that hopefully fit in the same conduit I put the internet cable through.
Yes.
Then I can make like a smaller one of these. I don't know what you call it.
Is it a distribution board?
It's the board, yes, but the little thing where the cables run in.
Okay.
In German, we call it Kabelkanal. I don't know. Yeah, something like that.
What would it be called?
And I wanna. Yeah, conduit is, I think, the round ones, but it doesn't matter.
Okay. Trunking.
I want to put that on the roof, so all the cables of the two cables for the generator and the internet cable are kind of hidden in that thing, so you don't see them hanging around, and make it nice. I need to finish the power outlets, put up more shelvings, start to offload the trailer. I might figure out a temporary solution using the water from my well to feed into the mobile home, so I can shower and have running water. Maybe also connect or make a connection for the washing machine inside the tech room.
Yeah.
Fencing is on my list. I might need to redo the footing of the mobile home. I saw the other day one that has some concrete pillars under it.
Yeah.
And the wheels are actually up in the air. My wheels are still on the ground. And every time one of my dogs is scratching it, the whole thing wobbles.
Passers-by think something else is going on in there, Matty, by the way. Okay, we're going to bring Siobhan on. Are you going to stick around with us? And because we've got Matty, we've got Matty on the screen now. Siobhan's going to join us from our Quinta Essencial Porta, and Jason's joining us at around 1:30. Are you going to stick with us, Matty, or have you got to go off and do stuff?
Unless my generator is delivered, I can stick around.
Oh, lovely. And architrave on the door. And if you need to do your washing, remember, most supermarkets in Portugal have a laundrette attached to them. Or come over to San Martino de Porto. We've got a pool table, a bar, a bar football table. We've got the best laundrette in the country, I would say, where you can get a burger, a beer, a coffee, and it's just incredible, this place I've discovered down the road here. So come and do your washing with me one day if you need a break from Central and all the mud and work and cold and so on. But Matty, I've got to say, fantastic job, mate. Incredible progress, because we've seen your ups and downs, and we've seen you possibly at your lowest, perhaps, when there was a terrific workload to do and things weren't coming together. And it just feels really great to me, and I'm sure for other people here, to see you've made some lovely progress. So well done, mate. Nice big round of applause, and we'll keep it going for Siobhan. Oh, no, see, that's what happens. I needed that for you earlier on, and now I'm looking for this. There it is. Okay. Siobhan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Carl. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. So it's definitely the Quinta crew this morning. We've been talking to Matty. I think Matty was threatening to come over to see us in Salida de Porto. I don't know if you ever made it, did you, Matty?
Yeah, we met.
You have
And
met.
what happened? He crashed his motorbike on his way here.
Oh, no. Didn't hear about that bit.
I fell over. It's not really a crash. I just fell over.
Okay.
Oh, no, I felt so bad. And I didn't have any time to chat with you, Matty. It was a busy day.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys know each other. That's great. And this is the Quinta Crew Network, because, of course, Siobhan over at Quinta Essencial de Porto. Welly weather, it says on your subtitle there. What's going on at Quinta this morning, Siobhan?
Well, actually, I'm having coffee with my friend Darlene. She's come to get some fresh air. But the Quinta.
Darlene, I know Darlene.
She refuses to be on camera, Carl.
We'll give her a hug from me, the Renaissance woman. Another Renaissance woman on that side of the bay there. So you, of course, are I called you our perch because I was mixing up print on demand and merch, but you are the purveyor of print on demand and of GMP merch. How's it all going at SIO Print?
Yeah, printing's going good, but we've taken a couple of weeks now to sorry, we're at the Quinta, so you hear the dogs. Hold on one sec. Guys, people going by. So yeah, we're taking a few weeks now just to restructure a little bit the association and work at the farm.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing, and go back to printing this afternoon.
Fantastic.
So, and this is Quinta weather. This is planting weather, gardening weather, replanting, making fences, all that kind of fun stuff.
And putting a roof on it. Looks like you might need a roof there. Am I right?
No, I'm in my bar. We're in our converted wine barrel, which is our little bar, a coffee bar. So this is where we are. I don't know if you've seen it. I'll try not to switch.
I have seen it. I mean,
Yeah.
how many people could say that, though, from their Quinta in the morning? I'm sat in my bar, which is a massive converted wine barrel. Right, and we've got exciting news, haven't we? There's some talk of a music tour. Your brother's in the music business in Canada, and he's coming over to tour in Portugal. So how can we get involved with this? Tell us more about what he does.
So my brother has a record label in Montreal, and he grew up in Portugal. He's coming back with one of his artists. So we start our tour on Friday. We're kind of the tour team, and we head to the Alentejo, to Monserrate, then to Lisbon, and then a show here at the Quinta at the farm on Thursday. So we're doing dinner, drinks, and a show. So several events, and that's what we'll be doing over the next few weeks.
Fantastic. Well,
and how can you get involved? I think you're coming to film here live during the show, Carl. I think I put you on for one of the songs even.
You put me on for one of the songs. What do you
I think
mean?
you're the opening act. You're the opening act, Carl.
Oh, okay. Well, I better get some material together then, or dust down a cover version or two. I'll do Streets of London with a couple of coconuts. So my yes, my party. So tell us about the artist in question here. What are they called? We're talking about Honor Roll Records, aren't we, from Canada?
We're talking about Honor Roll Records is a label, is the company. So basically my brother manages different artists, and the artist that's coming is kind of I don't know how to say it now. It's like it's hip hoppy, but it's more towards the older crowd, I would say.
That's what happens, so we've all grown up, haven't we? We were all like, whoop whoop! It's the sound of the police, and it's like, oh,
yeah, exactly. So he's
police are here now to help us,
and it's a very positive singing. Basically, his mission is to like sing, share music, and get people positive, like in a positive way. So it's quite funny. There's some nice songs. He's a very good artist. I met him a few weeks ago when I was back in Canada. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think often people are saying we don't do fun stuff around here, Salir, San Martino, except for the summer. So this is a chance. We have, I think we only have we're only selling about 40 places. Right. And it's for members, but if people want to come just for the day, then you can get a day membership, which is an extra €1, which if people ask, because we are a nonprofit association for insurance purposes. And we're looking forward to it. We're going to have some fun time.
Sounds amazing. Okay, so to find out more, if people search for A Quinta, Salir de Porto, they'll find you and they can register there, can they? Probably on Facebook?
Yes, no, you can go onto the website. This year we've gone, we're trying to go high tech this year. So
the website?
Yeah, the website now, you can actually buy your tickets directly on the website. So you don't even have to call me. I know, Carl. We're trying to give ourselves more time to plant our flowers and enjoy the Quinta than just admin. So we're working very hard to upgrade the website so it's easier for everybody to use.
Okay. Well, I've just found it actually. We've got the artist on the screen there, or on your homepage. Well done for letting the technology do the work. This was the great dream for human beings, wasn't it? So that we could have more leisure time and let the machines do all the work. Here's a great example of that. So he's
we're trying, Carl. I don't know if we're successful yet. I still
very trying. So Birosi, is that his name? Is that how I pronounce it correctly?
No, that's his name, Birosi. It's not just his stage name. It's Birosi. He's actually was a famous, quite famous hockey player as a young boy. So he's a great guy. He's fun, and I think positive energy is wonderful. And you'll probably see us. I know they're doing a live show for Canada as well from the beach. So it's just a bit of action, and this is their first tour back in Portugal for my brother, but the first of I think many to come. So we have lots of T-shirts going out, hoodies, all that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. And whoever it is who's saying, he's spreading these rumors that we don't do fun stuff in San Martino or Salir de Porto, whoever you are, stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
We do lots of fun stuff. You just gotta like be brave with the weather sometimes. That's all. That's the truth. You gotta be an outdoorsy kind of soul to enjoy it to the max. When it's cold outside, go outside, put your hands in the mud, plant a flower, and you'll see it start liking the bad weather.
Well, that's a really good moment to bring Jason on from Quinta Essencial. Definitely the Quinta crew this morning. Putting your hands in the mud, planting a flower. Here he is. Hello, mate. Good morning to you.
Morning. Bon dia.
How's it going?
How is everyone?
We're doing well, mate. Do I hear the sound of agricultural machinery in the background there?
Because we've had, it's been like 4 days of completely overcast here. And so I've just had to fire the generator up for a couple of hours this morning. I was hoping the sun might come out, but it's not looking too hopeful today. So pound on petrol to top everything up and get us through the day for today.
Wow. It's such a brilliant insight into Quinta life. Oh, well, we have you guys on the screen here. Look, the weather in Central Portugal. There's a video weather report there. How many sprouts and parsnips did you sell, Jason, for Christmas?
Oh, I sold my own body weight in parsnips. They were a surefire winner. In fact, I've got a load more on order today. It appears that parsnips and Brussels sprouts aren't just for Christmas.
Yes, to the root vegetables and the wind generation, vegetables of note there. What else is new at Quinta Essencial, Jason? And Siobhan, I don't know if you're staying with us or not. Feel free to check in and out as you wish.
At the moment, I had a load of beds that I'd prepared earlier, just before this side of winter. And so I've been busily planting. I already had garlic and a few bits in, but now what did I do? I planted maybe 600 sets of onions yesterday. I've got a couple of 100 head of broccoli to go in, and then this weekend I'll be getting probably another 1,000 onions, because that'll complete one bed for us. And so then I've offset it by about a month, so we should have some kind of successional harvest. And this weekend, really getting ready. We do a market in one of the local towns called Figueiró dos Vinhos. The market there was having declining numbers. A really good friend of mine who runs a dog shelter charity, Paul, Pagodas and Bigodas, I think it's Paw Prints and Whiskers. Unfortunately, when you translate that into English, it comes out as footfall and mustaches. But no, Paul does some great work, and he's really trying to rejuvenate the market in Figueiró dos Vinhos. And so, if you're in the area, be great to come and be great to see a load of you guys. Other than that, it's that time of year for me where my car needs to go through its IMT, and so I'm actually not allowed to touch food at the moment because I've got half of the Gulf in crude oil under my fingernails and stuff like that. But so today I'm addressing the steering system.
My goodness. So you're doing all that yourself?
Well, I had some help from a friend yesterday because I haven't got a barn here that I can put a car in or any concrete where I could even jack it up or anything. And so, very thankfully, a friend of mine, he's got an amazing workshop with an inspection pit and every single kind of tool that you can possibly have. And so yesterday I was over there doing a bit and identified a few other bits that need to do. So I'm off to the scrapyard today to go and see if I can take a load of bits off of a shell of a car there and get them popped on mine in time for my test in a couple of weeks.
Jason, you're amazing. Now I'm muting you between questions here, and we'll take it real nice and slow and have long answers because we've got a bit of an echo problem. I'm being told the echo is only on me, so I'm muting you up while I'm asking you these questions. But we were talking to Vitor yesterday from the north of Portugal, and he was talking this phrase that's going around at the moment. You know, like tough times make for strong men, or something like that. You are that guy, aren't you? You are doing everything on the Quinta there, which is like growing all the food, building your buildings, starting a business, and now even maintaining your own car. I think it's quite extraordinary. And these are the sort of skills that we were talking about recently that shouldn't go out of fashion. People need to be able to do this. I had to jumpstart my car the other day, and the guy who was giving me a lift, a jumpstart, not a lift, giving me a jumpstart, turned up with a hybrid, and it really threw me. It was like, you know, I wasn't used to that. I was just thinking I'm going to ruin his car as well as mine. And I sent him away and I had to get someone to come who only had a conventional battery. But these sort of skills will die without the likes of you and Matty, like doing your own buildings, creating your own Quintas. It's fantastic that you're doing this. And you know, notwithstanding that it's a lot of hard work. What are your plans then for 2024 with Quinta and community life? How's the year looking? We've had a little sense of that from Matty. What's going to be happening at Quinta Essencial this year with you getting your hands dirty in all sorts of other ways?
Well, for us, it's always all about community, and so we are now we gain a lot more of our neighbours use us as a viable place to come and buy vegetables. We are trying to get it together this summer so that we have plenty of fresh produce coming through. And then for us, it's going to be things like hopefully become involved in the local carnival. We're already doing a few bits with the school, like the school come down and we've dedicated a little area where the kids they're going to grow some strawberries and some tomatoes and peas and things that they can just pluck off the plants and eat, a sort of almost not instant, but they'll be able to see the fruits of their labour very quickly. You
could call it Little Pluckers, couldn't you? The Little Pluckers project.
A little what? Sorry.
I'm just muting you up again so I can say this and for it to be heard. You could start the Little Pluckers project.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe not then.
It's been really good because having the daughter in school, all the kids came down and they got to see where we lived and how we lived and everything like that. And so, and just as importantly, a lot of the parents. And so we make no bones about it. The way that we live here on the farm is maybe a little bit different to how a Portuguese family would. But our thing is, yeah, we're all different, but you can be nice and different. You know, just because you're different, there's nothing to be worried about or anything like that. And that was kind of the start of the school coming down. The kids absolutely loved it because they all had somewhere to run around and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I really want to try and get involved in the carnival and do a few more bits that go on around here and, you know, be seen to be actively taking part. Brilliantly, our neighbours have completely taken us into their community. Even now, we're getting more and more. The people who are coming are getting older and older, which, you know, it takes a bit of effort, even if you only have to walk down. And so I'm trying to work with these people, and I don't mind going and dropping some fruit and veg off for those guys, you know.
That sounds amazing, Jason. Now, you watched the interview I did recently talking about community involvement and being a bit different. You watched the interview we did with Paolo Fanassi, and talking of, you know, being different. You can be different and you can be nice and different. I think that kind of epitomized the sort of tone of the conversation with him. He's from Albufeira, of course, and he wants more representation for the foreigners who are pretty much at 50% of the population down there. And we've had a conversation or two, you and me, about this, you know, how to integrate and get involved locally. Did anything stand out about what Paolo was saying the other day when he was talking to us?
I mean, I really love the way that they're finding a very common ground in sport, especially after Portugal's good run in the Rugby World Cup. And so, because it gives people an opportunity to, I was going to say play together, which is essentially what it boils down to. But both cricket and rugby, they're both very social sports. And I think it gives everybody an opportunity to find out that maybe they've found something new that they enjoy, or they might even be good at. And so if Albufeira was to say get a cricket team together, you know, there's not going to be many of those, and so I just feel like that all of the camaraderie and everything that will go together, that go with it, when you create something new, I think could create a real buzz in that area. And I think you're saying there's something like 90 different nationalities represented in Albufeira, which is just mind-boggling. And I think also a testament to the pulling power that Portugal has as a place to come and live and, you know, re-establish a life. And so I'd have loved to have bought a place in the sun, but land prices are at a premium down that part of the world. And so but hopefully because the national press and everybody like that has got hold of it, a few more people will come out of the woodwork who, you know, when we say we want to be represented, it's I think that's within the system that there is. You know, and what I really liked about what he was saying was it was all about better integration. So you're breaking down that them and us thing and just making it us. But hey, we're here, and we've got some ideas. You know, can we run some ideas by you? Is I think a great place to start, and then start building relationships, and people can see that if we've got Portugal's best interests at heart, then, you know, it's going to make it for a stronger place that maybe could potentially become the standard for multiculturalism within the rest of the world, as a good example of how it can actually work, you know, benefit everybody.
Yeah, well said, mate. And rather than an ideology or a political tool, actually something that's practically working between people. And I was really, really enthused by what he said. And yeah, that the angle of starting a great big cricket pitch team tournament was such a good idea. And the stuff the films are made of as well, it just seemed like a field of dreams. You know, those sports movies that you see where it all comes together in the end. It sounds like there could have been a sort of a big cricket movie there. Matty, you kind of flinched a little bit when I talked about jump starting from a hybrid vehicle. Now, while I've got you two blokes here, I had to jump start my motor the other day, my old banger, because I left the lights on. And it's a horrible moment, isn't it? When you go get in, you jump in. This was after the meetup a couple of weeks ago. You jump in to turn it over, and there's nothing there, and you think, okay, please, and you pump it a little bit and you turn it on. Will it just click and turn over? And it was finished. There were Portuguese people arrived, like, oh yeah, I saw that you left your lights on earlier on. Do you need some help? It's like people it was incredible. People, complete strangers appeared, and oh no, sorry, we haven't got any jump leads. You know, and they're really apologetic that they couldn't help. So I was in this position where I needed to get some jump leads and somebody with a battery with an engine that looked like mine. Matty, can you do a jump start from a vehicle like yours?
I know the Tesla has a 12-volt battery and system in it, but I don't think it's enough to jump start another car.
Okay, and Jason was not. Sorry, go on, mate.
And on top of that, to get to the battery, I have to dismantle the front trunk.
Right. Okay. All right. So Jason was nodding there because I haven't done it for a long time. I like to think I'm nothing like you know the level of mechanic ninja that you are clearly, Jason. But I do remember the days of hitting the solenoid with a hammer and push starting a vehicle. And I remember push starting some teenagers once, you know, about a decade ago, and they thought I was like Gandalf. Because I said, get out and let me get in. She pushed the car and I'll start it for you. And they stood by the roadside like, oh my God, he's a magician. You know, they just had no clue about how to do these things. And when I went to do this the other day, I thought I'd better check on Google, which we never had before when we were hitting our solenoids with hammers. And it was talking about, well, you put the black cable on, no, you put the red on the red, and you put the red on the red, and you put the black on the black, but you don't put the black on the battery, you put it on the bodywork. And I was thinking, I don't ever remember it being this complicated. Don, old school Don, just came, pulled up alongside me, lift up the bonnet, rev it up a bit, give us the leads, bang, 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 bang. None of this stuff about, on the internet. It's like 32 steps when someone makes a YouTube video. Old Don comes along, 1, 2, 3, boom, done, we're off. What's changed there, Jason? Why is it so complicated these days? And can I get a jump start off a hybrid if I ever need to in the future?
I mean, my understanding, almost certainly off a hybrid you can, and I think even off the Teslas, even if you can't get to the battery, I think hidden in there somewhere, there's 2 points that you can connect some leads to, which will give you 12 volts, because pretty much everything inside the car is going to run off 12 volts. So all of your infotainment system and all of those bits, all of the lights and everything, all your bulbs and stuff, that's all going to generally run off of 12 volts. And so normally, certainly with some of the hybrid cars, sometimes in the boot, a million miles away from the battery, there'll be a little flap, and you pop it down and there'll be a red and a black terminal. So the thing I fixed yesterday on my car was the starter motor, because I've been parking on hills for the last 8 months.
You too.
And so it's a wonderful morning this morning, because I only fixed it yesterday, and so I can park the truck. I can park the pickup next to the truck, and so I'm not taking up any space out on the road anymore. And so mine had gone beyond hitting the body of the starter motor, unfortunately. As with many things that I use, they get fully used. There's no resale value in anything. Never buy anything from me. There's no resale value in it. It will be used. And so,
as nature intended, by the sound of it.
Yeah, kind of. But the thing with mechanicking is, it is a trade that is taken on by lots and lots of people. You don't have to be the brightest person in your class. You just have to have an interest in it. And it's the same with anything else. Once you break an engine down into small pieces and you understand how they interact with each other, most things on a car are relatively easy to diagnose. And then for me, it's just a matter of having the confidence to get in there with some spanners and have a bit of a belief in yourself that you can get it done. I mean, and so today I'm going to go to a scrapyard. I'm going to take the whole front end off of a car. I've got to split all the ball joints. I've got to because the one piece that I need, if I was to buy it new, it's going to cost me €500. And it's just a piece of metal with 2 holes in that hold all the steering together, which is becoming a little bit loose at the moment. It wanders. And so if I can go and get that from a scrapyard, it'll take me 40 minutes to get it off, and he might charge me, I don't know, €80. But then the good news is, because I've gone and done it down at the scrapyard, I've had a practice already at getting it all off. And so when I come to do mine, it's like there should be less surprises, and I should just be able to sort it all out. But we made a very conscious decision that we were going to try and be as self-sufficient as possible, which is why everything at our place is very low tech, because I actually stand a chance of being able to repair it myself. And so it's the same now my neighbours have found out that I can do things like that. I quite often get generators and chainsaws and strimmers, and it doesn't work. And with all of those things, normally €15, 20 euros gets them going. People think you're a magician, but really it's just you've got a fuel system, electrical system, a timing system, and an exhaust system, and Suck, squeeze, bang, blow is how it goes, Carl.
You knew I'd like that, right? And you I mean, you are a magician. It's all relative, isn't it? If you can't do these things, the person who can do them is a magician. And it brings us on to an important point, I think. And I've been writing about this. My next Portugal resident column was prompted by a conversation we were having with Lisa, the alpaca lady up in Aveiro. And Pete was talking a lot on that particular show about the disappearance of these old skills. Not so much. I mean, I think mechanics are alive and well, basically, in Portugal. I use a great guy. He's, it's a father and son combination, and they'll make, do, and mend. It's a great ethic. They're not just trying to make a load of money on parts and just hit you up every time. They want to keep the cars on the road and prolong the life of vehicles, it seems. And they're really fair and they're really good value. And they to me, he's a magician. And we were talking with Lisa and with Pete about, the guys who are doing the calçadas, the carpenters, and the people who are really the lifeblood, the backbone of rural Portuguese life. They build and make things. They create the structures of life. And we were talking about how, these skills are disappearing slowly but surely. And what a shame it would be that this lifestyle upon which those skills depend might be dwindling, and what we can do about that. And I know, doing it as individuals, doing it as you're doing it, Matty, is hard work. You will do it, no doubt, as Jason has done it. And it seems the emphasis is on the individual to have this happen. What ideas have you guys got for us to be preserving this lifestyle in central Portugal? In a way that we've been talking about immigration, how we can manage that from the big picture. What ideas are there that you've come across in central Portugal to preserve that way of life and these old skills? Let's start with you first, Matty, on that. What do you think about that as somebody who's really come from quite a cosmopolitan, metropolitan life in the Netherlands to living in the middle of nowhere? What are your views on preserving that way of life now, having tasted it and enjoying it, presumably?
Well, to be honest, I still need to make more connections locally with the community here and find local workers and stuff for things that I don't know how to do or don't dare to do. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the youth needs to do the old things and to be interested in the old things. And if they don't do it or don't want to learn it, then it's going to be lost.
Yeah, right.
That's
So we need to encourage them and find ways of introducing them to the magic that we're talking about with Jason. What's your view on it, Jason? And thanks for that, Matty.
I mean, for me, a lot of the people that we deal with around here who do have those skills are advancing on in age. Yeah. And so for me, it's more about making the entire lifestyle more attractive and making the idea of living in rural locations more attractive to young people. And so we've only got to look at things. I don't know if you've seen any of the farmers' protests which have been happening in Holland, in the Netherlands, in Germany, and in France, where it's becoming increasingly obvious that, farmers, however you want to farm, they're the people that feed us. And so when you have supermarkets squeezing them massively to try and get the very best deal, to then go and put maybe 300-400% profit onto their top line, onto their bottom line at the same. So I think if we could get back to having fruit and veg shops and a butcher, and if you live in those areas where they are, maybe try and use those guys instead of going to Intermarché or, I don't want to brand drop. I don't think Intermarché are particularly any worse than any others. They were just the first one that came to mind. But if more people supported, say your local butcher and your local veg grower and stuff like that, and they could actually make some money which was representative of the amount of work that they put in. And so if you're getting paid a fair deal, then maybe some of the youngsters would be more up for giving that a go than becoming a influencer or
an influencer. Yeah.
And that's what it is for me. It's making living in rural areas an attractive proposition, and then youngsters will want to learn those ways, and they might have a better way of doing it.
Well, there is that, isn't there? If you bring the young minds to it, not only will they learn the old skills, but they might do the old skills in a new way that makes it even more, that brings a new angle to it and makes it more attractive. Matty, I forgot, there was a question I was going to ask you earlier on. Are you now a charging point, or is it just for your own personal use? You're not. That's not right.
No, it's a private on private property, and it's not advertised in any of the apps that you have as an EV driver to find charging spots.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Now,
and I'm not planning to do that either.
Okay, you're not going to be commercial. Okay. Because that network is important, isn't it? As you described, you had to make a big long journey to recharge your vehicle the other day. But I guess that infrastructure is coming, isn't it, for this sort of thing?
The infrastructure is not that bad. It's just the trailer of mine is a shoebox on wheels, so the aerodynamic value is of a brick wall.
Yeah.
So that's not helping when you try to go over the highway in a smooth way, and it's already it was also a little bit cold. It was only 9 degrees when I did the trip, and cold temperatures also reduce the range that you have on an EV, because the whole process of getting energy out of the battery needs heat, and the heat that's extra because it's cold is lost and makes you have less range.
All right.
So usually the last time when I had the trailer behind me, I had half my range, and now it was down to maybe a third.
Wow.
Or
this is quite. You have to really plan by the sound of it, don't you? With this in mind.
And because I did the trip the first time, I wasn't sure what the charging spots are and how far I can get. So I was very conservative and tried to charge the battery as full as possible. And the fuller the battery, the longer it takes.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're a role model to young people, you know, to be able to live freely on the land and still be connected to the internet and have an electric vehicle. That's quite an attractive proposition, I think, possibly to some young people who let's face it, you know, the proposition they face in the city is becoming increasingly difficult, and the quality of life there. So who knows? You're a bit of a beacon and a role model, and you are certainly, Jason. Squire of the Shires, scrapyards are great places for us adults with tools. Going back to play again, I think. See what you can salvage there. Save a bob or two as well. Thank you, Squire. Jackie, great to see you here. And Mark as well. Thanks for popping in, Mark. Scrapyards are a little bit of heavenly joy for a crafter like me. One man's junk is this lady's next project. Be careful what you say. There are farmers' protests and plenty of butchers. Are these connected, Pete? There are farmers' protests. Is that generally, or because I've not seen any farmers protesting in Portugal? It's all about scale, isn't it? And I really don't think we've got the same amount of farmers here as there are in Germany, or currently in Berlin at the moment. Plenty of butchers. There are a lot of butchers in Portugal. People love their meat here, don't they? We counted 7 within the same block in Fundão Market. Well, long may it continue, unless you're a vegan, of course. It can be quite funny when protesters are complaining about a 10% rise in fuel, sitting in a €2 million tractor, though. And Antonio F., the humble crafter, do you know of the work of Bordalo too? You'll like it. Now, our friend of ours, a great friend of ours.
The thing with the farmers
in Lisbon. Go on, sorry, Jason, carry on.
Sorry, it wasn't the fact they were going to put an extra 10% on fuel in Germany. What it was is that they've decided, so just as this week or in the last 10 days, the Portuguese government, because we were in a cost of living crisis for a while, and so they had knocked the IVA off of basic foodstuffs. Yeah, which is like potatoes and carrots and cabbages and things like that, to give people a bit of a chance to get ahead. That all went back on here 10 days ago. And so that's an instant 6% increase. The problem was during that, nobody really noticed that they'd taken the 6% off, because what happened was all of the big supermarkets put their prices up and swallowed the 6% that the general public was supposed to receive. And so in Germany, what they've been saying is they're going to get rid of subsidies on the diesel. And so when people talk about diesel and are trying to electrify everybody and get everybody to go over to electric cars, it's like for the total amount of oil-based products that are used within the world, it's only 25%, which is private vehicles and all land haulage.
Mm-hmm.
And so the largest users of diesel, I think the three biggest industries is agriculture, mining, which, you know, they is for making EV batteries, and then railway networks. And so if it's really good in Portugal, you look at your receipt when you get your fuel, and it very blatantly says on there that when you buy your fuel, you have been charged 88.4% in tax.
Incredible, isn't it?
And so to pass that subsidy onto farmers, it's not like you're charged, you're not making any money as a government. What you're doing is you're protecting your food security within your place. And so I don't know what the state farming is. I'd imagine they've got some fairly large farms in Germany, but I would also imagine that they've got what's a small to medium sized concern. So a small farm would be considered, I don't know, 50 acres to 100 acres. And so by dropping that subsidy on farmers, that might give them an extra 30 to 40,000 euro cost that they have now got to cover. At the same time as supermarkets are saying, we're only going to give you X amount for potatoes or this amount for eggs. And so if you're continually being squeezed on all sides, it makes sense that you do actually have to say something about it.
Well, you might protect the people who are growing your food, mightn't you, in a sane society, for sure.
I mean, it would be a great start. It's the kind of thing that people can't do without. And the problem is, what will happen is farmers will get squeezed. They will be reluctant to produce as much of the same foods. And what will happen is the highly processed food companies, they will move in to fill the gap. I saw a thing the other day that they're 3D printing meat in Holland.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
Screw that. Let's say it publicly. Screw that.
Well, they say you are what you eat.
And if you eat 3D printed meat, I mean, that's got to be a problem, isn't it? And this sounds to me, Pete, I get your point here, but this sounds a bit to me like that Malcolm X quote, you know, be careful because the papers will be telling you who to hate. And this is like, you know, whilst there is you know, we should be looking after, I think, the people who create our food. When you have it sounds like this sort of media thing, doesn't it? Is, oh, look at them riding around in their 2 million tractors complaining against a little fuel rise. It kind of misses the point, doesn't it, of what our society is actually built on and what we need as people and what's really going on between the governments and the corporations as well. Because I think there's a few fat cat corporate CEOs who are riding around in 2 million, the equivalent of a 2 million euro tractor as well, without too much focus on their behavior. And you could say they're not adding a lot of value potentially to society either in the way that a farmer might be. And those poor farmers in their industry where stress and suicide is at quite a high rate, no wonder they might go and work in a call centre, as you also point out here, Pete. Squire says government spending is off the Richter scale for wars, while the public institutions are deliberately being understaffed and underfunded. And imagine the monthly payment on that tractor. Yeah, they need a subsidy to pay that.
They get very little choice. And so if you're a large scale farmer and you're putting stuff into the food chain, then all of your equipment, all of your feed and everything like that, it all has to be approved stuff.
Yes.
And then the other thing is you will be put under pressure by people like John Deere or New Holland. And so there's an expectation that every 3 years, because they're all supporting industries.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, I know John Deere have been trying to trial a electric tractor out in the States. It's been met with, I'm going to say, wholesale derision, mainly because of charge times. And even if you had super fast charge times, just the fact that a farmer would have to go back to a certain area of his farm and either swap out a battery. And so the extra time that those processes take has been adding more and more time. And then the other thing is, when it comes to harvest time, those combine harvesters, because harvesting is very dependent on weather, and so you've got to go when you can.
Yeah,
they'll be running maybe 24 hours a day for a 2-week period, because I've got a brand new combine harvester and I'll lend you the keys, and so there is generally a shared resource.
Yeah,
and so if you just don't get the opportunity to change your battery or do any of those things, because your crop might spoil. And so whereas you can carry, say, I don't know, 100 litres of diesel on the back of a trailer and pop it in a field somewhere while you're working, and so the EV application for all industries is not quite there. And the people who had to trial them, they were given no choice but to trial them, because this is where John Deere now want to go. And so farmers get quite a rough deal when it comes to the equipment they can use and the seed they can plant and how they go about their practices.
Well, I imagine, Jason, the saying, you can tell a lot about a society by the way it looks after its most vulnerable. I suspect the same is true of, you can tell a lot about a society by the way it looks after its farmers as well, or not, as the case may be. And as well as fact checking, we might do agenda checking. What's really going on behind the scenes here? So, but I've been looking for an opportunity to shout out to the farmers of Europe who are fighting for their rights to just go about their business. Shout out to them, and all the best. We're not hearing much about it, are we? Apart from you, actually. Talking about it this morning. So thank you for mentioning that. And it's past 10. So thank you. You two role models from Central Portugal. Matty, who's making a life in Central Portugal and kind enough to join us every month to tell us about what's going on. Great progress. Well done, Matty. Thank you very much, mate. And all power to your elbow and the developments there, because luckily you've got a nice broad back there to take on all this work. And you're an amazing guy with an amazing vision. So all the best to you in this next year with the developments on Tragosh. And the same to you, Jason, at Quinta Essencial. Your vision's amazing. You're doing so much alone. You're self-starting. I don't think you're getting the sort of support that you might get, again, in a sane society. You might be supported rather than have some forces to work against you sometimes, as we've heard in the last year, whilst you're just trying to go about a business where you're supplying food to people. And they love it, clearly, as well. So all the best to you in the new year as well, mate.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we better leave it there. It's 8 minutes past 10. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be talking to Raquel from Lighthouse Consulting and Stephen White as well. So more about business and generating wealth and being self-sufficient, that sort of thing, and being a self-starter tomorrow on Hump Day. Matty, all the best. You have a great day. Jason, have a great day. Everyone, have a great day. And we'll see you again in the morning. Take care and bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bom dia, Portugal! In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.